They thought he didn't belong. A man in dress blues, standing proudly at the back of the auditorium, his eyes locked on the stage where his son, the first in their family to graduate with honors, was minutes from walking across that stage. They didn't see the decades of sacrifice in his posture. They didn't see the years of service sewn into every inch of that uniform. All they saw was a black man in a room they didn't think he was meant to be in. The man's name was Master Sergeant Elijah Brooks. 22 years in the Marine Corps, multiple tours, 2 Bronze Stars, and a chest full of ribbons that told a story most civilians could never understand. But on this particular day, he was just a father, a proud father, until the moment 2 private security guards in clip-on ties and puffed-up pride approached him like he was a threat. Not a guest, not a veteran, just a problem. "Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave. This section is reserved." He calmly showed his ticket. Front row. His son had made sure of it, but the guards didn't budge. "You're making some of the guests uncomfortable," one said, glancing sideways at a wealthy-looking couple seated nearby. The tension in the room grew thick, but Elijah didn't raise his voice, didn't make a scene. He simply stood his ground, quiet, dignified, exactly how the Corps taught him. But his son, Michael, watching from behind the curtain, saw everything, and his smile faltered. The principal hesitated before calling the next name. Elijah Brooks, Jr., valedictorian. As Michael stepped forward to speak, eyes darted toward the back of the room. Elijah was gone. Here's where the story begins to shift. What the guards didn't know, what the principal didn't know, what none of the well-dressed attendees whispering behind pearl necklaces and polished shoes knew, was that Elijah Brooks wasn't alone that day. He hadn't come to his son's graduation by himself. 6 men had arrived with him. Quiet, humble, spread out through the auditorium like shadows. But these weren't just any men. These were SEALs, brothers, warriors, men who had bled beside him in deserts and jungles across continents. They saw it all. They let the disrespect land. They let the humiliation unfold. But they also knew Elijah Brooks, knew the kind of man who would walk away before he ever let his presence ruin his son's day. And that's exactly what he did. He walked out, back straight, shoulders proud, a silent casualty in a war of prejudice, until one of the SEALs stood, and then another, and then all 6. No words, just movement. One approached the microphone after Michael's speech, calmly, confidently. A man with graying temples and the unmistakable bearing of someone who'd seen combat and didn't fear consequences. "I wasn't supposed to speak today.